I live near Century High School, and so I drive up North Broadway most days. And when I do, I've noticed over the past few years this murder of crows. The crows are ubiquitous. When you get from Civic Center up to North Broadway, it's almost a post-apocalyptic scene. And you look up and you see all of the crows flying around looking for something to eat. In fact, it made me wonder whether they might replace the Canadian goose as the symbol for Rochester, because they're just everywhere. And so I began to try to learn more about crows, and the more I learned, the more fascinated I became. You know, crows are highly intelligent, and they're extremely communicative. These birds make 30 distinct sounds. Some more research about crows show that crows hold grudges. Crows can recognize faces and can recognize when animals and others do bad things to them, and they remember. Also, crows eat garbage. And so, as I think about an animal I would most be like, it would be the crow, because I think of myself as smart and I talk a lot and I hold grudges and I eat garbage. So those are all things that are true about me as well. This past year has been for me an obsession to complete my project, to finish my degree, and the project's taken probably 600 or 700 hours of writing and research, and many hours alone at my office with no one there over holiday breaks working on this project. And you know, as you maybe want to do when you're spent hours and hours working on something, you look for almost any distraction to serve as a means to break the monotony. And as I was working, I noticed out the patio window that we have this crow hopping along with a broken wing. And so doing the most responsible thing I could as a scholar at that time was to stop working on the project and go outside and take pictures of this crow. And so I followed the crow around taking pictures, and it was very fascinating, and I was shocked, and it could be a byproduct of all the hours I'd spent there, which I started to have some hallucinations anyway. But this crow began to speak to me. And so as I asked him what his name was, and he said his name was Caw. And I asked him how he broke his wing, and he said that that wasn't important. And then I offered to do something about it, because I know something about crows and birds, that if a bird breaks its wing, it's pretty much a death sentence. And about the only way to save a bird is to take it to a veterinarian, to have the wing reset. That would be the only chance it could be. So I offered Caw, said, Caw, you know, I'm really busy right now, but I'd be willing to take you to a veterinarian and have your wing repaired. And Caw was real upset at the suggestion of this, that even though his wing was broken, he was bothered by the notion that I would have to return him to normalcy. And Caw tried to explain to me the tragedy that develops around normalcy. He said, you know, people are obsessed with fixing what is broken. If they can't fix what is broken, then they're determined to hide what they cannot fix. He said, how many times have you gotten in trouble, Clint, for trying to rush to normalcy to fix the broken and hide what couldn't be fixed? Why can't you just leave things alone? So I reflected on that, and it bothered me. But the thing that bothered me the most was the last thing he said to me before he limped away. He said, we all have time left. We don't know how much it will be, but we have time to do something significant before we die. And as he flopped away, I thought, well, that won't be very much longer for Caw, because he has a broken wing and he's not getting along very well. So I thought about it through the year, and I came across a quote by Senator Patrick Moynihan that seemed very similar to what Caw was saying. He's saying that we constantly overpromise results, and we constantly underestimate difficulties. We avoid any evidence of conflict or incompatibility, thus creating failure and the conditions for failure out of a desperate desire for success. So I thought, man, you know, in my life, I do just what Caw said. I try to cover up what's broken. I try to rush to normalcy, and I don't just face the fact that sometimes life has its broken places that you have to deal with. Well, fast forward to just a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to finish my project and get it turned in. All of the edits, to my chagrin, when they came back from the school, required 60 to 70 hours of Turabian edits, and so I was in the same situation I was in last year, and I looked out the window and I couldn't believe it, but I saw a crow that looked exactly like Caw, and it was completely healthy. And I rushed outside to talk to it, and I said, "Are you Caw?" And he said, No, I'm Click. I'm Caw's son. I said, "Well, did your dad ever tell you about me?" And he said, "Yes, my dad told me all about you. He said he met this fat man once." And they talked about the meaning of life. And I said, "Did he say anything else about me?" And Click said, "Yeah, that before Caw died, he wondered whether you had done anything significant with your life, with the time that you had." And I kind of put my head down, and I had to confess to Click that even though I was completing this great project, that even in the accomplishment of it, it feels like a chasm. That feels like you're just taking a piece of paper that you earned and you're letting it go into this deep, deep crater of your life. And in retrospect, it doesn't seem all that significant. I said, "Did Caw tell you anything else?" He said, "As a matter of fact, fat man, he did." "Well, what did he say?" He said, "My dad wanted you to know that there were 3 secrets to life." I said, well, what are they?" He said, "Well, first, there are 3 secrets to life. And second, don't tell anyone everything you know, Mr. Toastmaster."